Good morning. Well, it's been a bit of a stop-start morning for whatever reason. Partly regarding the painting, I've almost finished the one in the studio and I'm kind of not sure what to do next with it. So I suppose part of my stop-start carry-on was that I hadn't a plan for what I was going to do painting-wise this morning. So I've ended up just, I had saved a few pictures on my phone of still life setups, and I thought I could just visit one of those with so I'm using the ultramarine blue and the raw umber to make kind of Payne's grey like colour. Don't know where the Payne's grey is. In order to kind of draw out this, it's a sunflower, and particularly a particularly nice setup that I had earlier this year that I really like, and so I thought I'd revisit it on the small scale. Not really sure how it'll work, because one of the things about it was its opulence. But anyway, we'll see. So that sunflower is pretty much centre stage, but maybe just, it's a little bit lower than halfway up the page, up the board. And it's a bit closer to the left than it is to the right. So I'll just pop in the centre of that sunflower there. And then the purplish, greenish flowers behind. Really just looking to explain the tones for now and the position of things relating to the tones that they are. I could move over a little bit further because those petals on that sunflower are massive. And then this one will be here. Yeah, so I've got somebody coming to measure the kitchen floor this morning, and I'm deciding what cards to get printed for my pop-up gallery with Sarah Kirkir and Rona Petrie, but I'm making the decision about my own stuff myself, of course. I'm just trying to decide what it is that I want to have on show there, and how much of it will be original. Like, there's quite a lot of original sketches, of course, since the October, since the Inktober thing. I have lots of original art that I might have sold in a Facebook sale or something in the past, but I think now I'll just use the pop-up gallery as almost like the Facebook sale venue. So there'll be original art, but I will also have some printed work as well. I don't know if I've put this too far over. I have, haven't I? What's it gonna feel like if I want to get that daisy in, you see. The daisy would be there. I suppose I could get the daisy in. Let me just see if I crop it a little bit on the left to work with what I've done. Let's see how that would be. Yeah, I think that's okay. Maybe just a bit more space for these sunflowers to shine over to that side. Could always increase their volume a little bit. It means that the daisy is a bit kind of crammed in towards the edge there, but if I was to frame this, I would probably frame it on a floating one because it's on a board, so I don't have to have space for a mount to come over or anything. There's a daisy there. Yeah, I think we just about manage it. There's another little daisy underneath, but it's more in the shadows there. I didn't plug in my microphone today, but it was a conscious decision not to do that, and I'll tell you why. Because I'm charging up the iPad. It's a bit of a story, actually. I left a suitcase on the bus last week with my chargers in it. So I've been using Erin's charger, but she needed it last night. So I said I'd just charge mine up in the morning. I need to go into Edinburgh it's Shandwick Place is where they have the lost property stuff. So I'll go in there this week, anytime between 10 and 5, they said. I missed my slot last week, like I had planned to go after the demonstration at the Scottish Arts Club, and totally forgot about it. Totally forgot about the suitcase, I mean. I didn't forget about the Arts Club demo, thank God. Anyway, so they said then I can just come in anytime, so that's really kind of them. So I'll just pop in this week. But anyway, so I had to charge up my iPad, and it's not fully charged yet, and I didn't want to start depleting it again. So instead of plugging in the microphone, I plugged in the charger, and it's carrying on charging as we speak. Now I suppose I'm in charge of this too, and I could decide to put some extra flowers over there if I wanted to. I'm always kind of half reluctant to do that unless there's really good reason. So let's see if it looks like a gaping empty space, or if I can make it. Sometimes you can fill it with like even just a bit of action in the background, or make it deliberately asymmetrical. That's, make that a feature of it, kind of the blank space. So we'll see. And then I've got this lovely tin jug, which is smaller really than the sunflower. It's about as high as it, but it's not as wide as it, obviously. It's dark on one side. Yeah, just about there, I'd say. That'll be a petal, not the dark inside. And then there's a jug handle that comes up here. See, I think that needs to be higher, that little bit of dark there. I could fill in that space a little bit more, which would be kind of good for the composition too, I think. So that's the back of that sunflower. And then the back of this one, oh, there's Midnight. She keeps wanting to go out and then come in. And we don't have a cat flap, so I let her beck and call. I can sense her on the windowsill again, she is. Okay. So she's like me this morning, not knowing whether she wants to go out or come in. Up until now, it's good that I've started this now, because I feel like I'm on the decision making is, that's the most draining thing, isn't it? It's the, you know, the most satisfying thing about setting these habit stacks up in advance is that I know what I'm going to do. I just slot in and do it, and there's no panic then about, oh, is this a better picture than that one to be doing? And so I'm really relieved of that pressure, and I'm kind of glad too to notice how significant it is, so that I can plan for success going forward. Well, so that I can kind of make sure that I do have the decision making out of the way when I go to sit down to paint. If it's something that I want to just kind of, like this, just do a few minutes of it in the morning and then head off and do the rest of my stuff, get on with the rest of the day. Do you know what I got in the post yesterday was Rick Rubin's book. Rick Rubin, I love what he says so far anyway, so good. Somebody on YouTube, I think, had recommended it to me, so thank you. Also, I've been listening to him a bit on YouTube. I like his freedom and attitude to creativity and everything. I'll get at midnight. Come in. Pardon me for a minute. Come on in, you. I know it's cold now, but I've actually just decided to leave the window open because I can't be bothered getting up and down and up and down. And it's not harm having a bit of fresh air, sure. Okay, I was thinking I might put on some yellowish, some of a yellowy kind of a colour. I'm still talking shadows here now, but if I put in the cadmium yellow, I mean really, it feels like it's warm. And the back of the sunflower there, I might put some, what's this, cadmium red, is it? Permanent rose. Let's see what that'll be like mixed in with that. I think I just wanted any kind of a red really to warm up the red, yellow, and I'm kind of pressing the blue and brown mix that was on the brush already into the mix here, and so that'll make it kind of more of a muted colour for the shadows. So I'm looking to do the backs of the sunflowers, it's a lot of paint. And it's almost the same, it's almost yellow ochre really what I've decided to use here. I think I could do with it being a little bit warmer, some sort of warmth in the photograph of these flowers. They were taken in, I took the photo in the living room, just over there. I remember painting them. I did a massive painting from these, and it was so big it didn't fit on the easel, so I had to stick it on the wall, and I moved the telly and put the painting up on the wall behind where the telly would have been, and then I used the table that the telly was on for my little workstation. It's a glass table, so it was handy. I was able to clean it a bit after. So just something to kind of indicate, okay, these are sunflowers and this is the space that they'll occupy, even although they're not very bright just now. Just putting something in for them. And then going back to the other yellow, which is mostly just cadmium yellow without the red, to describe the inside of that daisy. And we have a daisy down here too. Where is it? It's about there, the inside of it. And there's the third one up here that I almost missed earlier. Be about there, I think. Yeah, let's see now. I want to get this one a little bit more the shape that it is. I'm looking at the shape of the space made between the petals in the background. There's lots of little triangles and things. Okay, I think that's alright. I'm sure I could maybe use the clean damp brush now just to lift out a couple of the shapes so that it reads a bit more like sunflower. I'm hoping that the microphone wasn't too necessary today because I'm sitting inside and I'm close enough to the iPad mic that I hope it's not a frustrating video where you can't hear me. And I have made the commitment, haven't I, to using the microphone most of the time. So at least I'm aware that it's a good thing and make it a commitment. Right, what am I doing now? Then maybe I could put a bit more. Yeah, I feel like I want to lift off a little bit of the dark that's in there for the spout of the jug, because the petals really actually overlap it, that dark. And the tips of the petals to me seem to be a richer, warmer, brighter colour than the rest of them. As they turn in, they get a little bit darker. So the tips of some of these petals are quite bright. It'd be nice to paint them maybe with oil paint later. This is acrylic that I'm using for now. No, kind of not sure what to do about the background. Anyway, I'll carry on with the delphiniums. Would be the next thing, I suppose. So the ultramarine blue, maybe almost on its own, just a little bit of the brown to cancel out the brightness. And I think I will put some more of that magenta out because the permanent rose, because I need a little bit of something warm in that blue as well to make it feel like it's more delphinium. I need something kind of purplish to happen there. So I'll show you now what it's like. So let me see first, did I make sure that I've got the position of it right? It's about the length of the sunflower again, maybe a little bit shorter. So I think it'll start about there. I'm just trying to get the direction and general shape of the delphinium petals. And the petals themselves occupy a little bit more space than the centre of the sunflower. So they're a little bit taller than the centre of the sunflower. I mean, I'm making them duller than they are. And the thing about delphinium is they're beautiful blue. So you might be kind of thinking, why is she making them so dull? But the thing about that is that the dark accentuates the light. And so when I do go to paint the brighter bits, or even the dark, if they remain dark, as I'm looking at it now, it looks as though the background is brighter than any part of the blue. It might be that I'll paint some white in between the flowers to describe the background in order to heighten them. And I could bring some more colour in with the oil paint. But for now, I just want to establish their position and their size in relation to other flowers, and the brightness will happen eventually too. Oh, I see now. So that, I think I put that centre of that daisy a little bit high up. In relation to the delphiniums, it needs to be a bit higher, and I think the delphiniums are in a good position. So I won't toy with them, except to try and create the shape of them now that I've got a damp brush in my hand. Kind of emphasising a bit more the particular twists and turns of the petals. And lovely little shapes there, described by this space between the petals. You could get fierce kind of involved, couldn't you? And then there's this one here, it's very thin stem coming out. Alright, so what was I going to do? Get some kitchen paper there. I was going to move down the central yellow bit for that daisy so that the other delphinium sits in the right place. Yeah, it's just a marginal little drop there, and I think it works. Yeah, I think it works okay with the length here between the daisy and the sunflower. I think it works okay. Yeah, okay, so now I'm doing the delphinium that sits behind that daisy. Kind of nice having it to explain the outline of the daisy a little bit at least. It's a lighter coloured one. But I'm still, like I say, not too concerned yet about the lights and darks, and they're more finding its position. And actually, if there's anything, I'm letting the dark of the delphinium explain the bright of the daisy in front of it. That's its kind of purpose, really, I suppose you could say. I'll lift out the smooth edge of the daisy there. And with this clean brush, I'm going to lift off some of the colour, because it's, as I said, no, it was a bit more muted. And also to try and soften the edges so that they're not hairy edged, because the delphinium have a nice rounded petal. And I want to get the character of the flower best I can. Okay, that's enough fumbling about with that. I'm going to try and make it green now with the cadmium yellow and the ultramarine blue. And just begin to explain the position of the leaves, where they meet the flowers too. So there's a leaf there that's kind of helpful to explain just now, I think. Something like that shape about it. And then there's the stem course of this daisy, which comes up quite close. And then I need to adjust that a bit, but I know what I'm doing. And then I put it in all the way down. And then I'm going to just put in the stem. When I've got the darkish green on the brush, I'm just going to plant the stem here and there of the delphinium, which is really quite thin. Thin and dark. And I think now that I've got that darker colour on the brush again, I'm going to, that area is too wet to do anything with, really. I'll just lift off the fluidity and re-find the shape of the petal there. I can go back in with the dark in a minute. For now I'll keep wandering around with the greenish colour on the brush and see where else it could be used. Actually, there's another yellow there that I totally missed. How did I miss that? Glass, isn't it? The things we overlook. The back of another yellow flower there. It's not that dark now. See, it's a bit more colourful than I'm giving it credit for. So I'm mixing the dirty colour that was on the brush for the delphinium. I'm mixing with the yellow and the permanent rose to make this colour here for the. With my eyes half closed, and I'm just going to find where the sunflower is there. It's coming over almost to meet that leaf. And I know that I'm making it darker than it is really, but I'm just getting the shape of it now. And we can always lighten it up later. Darker and cooler is what I'm making it, so I'll be warming it up later on. Okay, that's okay. It's in there anyway. And then I suppose I could, while it's still wet, do the thing of, with a damp brush, eating out the shape of the spaces between the petals as I see them. There's a few that are quite clear. I could have even brought it closer to that leaf, you know. There's quite a big triangle shape of the negative space in there. And then there's a triangle shape here too, and then one here. And then the dark of the center of that sunflower, or the dark of something, I think it will be the center of it, because it's facing this way as far as I can see. It'll be hiding behind those petals of that central sunflower. The brush isn't dry enough for me. I'll just let it alone, it'll dry as I'm doing other things. Okay. And then there's a pink. Again, I'm happy enough for it to be fairly muted still. There's a flower that's kind of pinkish there. Could have a touch of dirty yellow in it to make it that kind of cottage garden dusty pink. I think it's a dragon, snapdragon, isn't that what they're called? I think that's what that flower is. And there's a pinkish bit that catches the light that's nice and bright above there. Let's see now, where is it? It's over there a little bit further. Okay, and then the yellowish quality of some of the flowers, and then at the tip there's a greenish thing going on. At the very tip of that, it's quite dark. See if this will do it. That's okay. And I don't want it to be too significant as it sits back in the distance. Just put some of that same green in here as well. And then there's this other leaf. It's almost running parallel to the one above it, but opening out a bit more. Now that positioning isn't great, because that should be, see, that leaf needs to be further away from that little thing. So it leads me to believe that that little thing should be there. And that the pink, that could be shadow pink. Yeah, that pink flower, the snapdragon, needed to be further out. I'll just lift off that. And underneath that is where the brightest bit of pink is really, underneath that area. And then there's little flashes of dull pink out there. And where I just lobbed in the green really is the creamy coloured bud. So I lift out that. And then I can reintroduce the green at the edges again, because it is a little bit green out there. So I was going to get my floor measured for a covering for the kitchen floor, and they were to come on Tuesday, and I thought that'll be plenty of time now for me to do a job on it and rope in the girls to help me to clear it out. But the company phoned this morning, and they said, look, we've got a space to come this morning, could we come and measure it this morning? So they'll be here between 11 and 1 today. And I did say yes, because I thought, do you know what, it's no harm. And who cares if it's a mess? Like, it's just that the cat, I need to sort out the cat's cupboard, because that's really messy. And I want the covering to go into the cupboard so that we can clean it, keep it properly clean, where her food and things are. Anyway, so as a result they're coming, and the guy on the phone said, it's alright, he said, we'll just talk about you. You won't have time to clean it, but we'll just talk about you. So they're used to people, I'd say, trying to make themselves look cleaner than they are. I don't know. Anyway, it doesn't matter. So that's happening. I'm glad of that. I'm glad that it's happening this morning, because that'll get the ball rolling. And I think there's something fantastic about making one change, how it can really encourage you to bring everything else up to the standard of that, or continue finding beauty. Like I was thinking yesterday, I did a little exercise about values, and one of my values is beauty. I love having beautiful things around me. Now, you mightn't think that. Well, I don't know, I suppose when I mean beauty, I mean like colour, and making paintings from flowers. That's an effort to explain beauty a little bit, and it's because of their beauty that I'm so intrigued by them, I suppose. Anyway, so I discovered that beauty was one of my values, really. And as a result, I thought, look, I've been wanting a nice kitchen floor for ages. Why don't I just go and look? And I was in Dalkeith, and there's a place in Dalkeith called Stress-Free Flooring. And that's where I went. And it has been stress-free so far. I just picked out a few, the girls like them. And they're going to come and measure. And then within the next couple of weeks, they'll have the floor down. So it'll be fantastic. Delighted with that. I'm trying to fill in this kind of nondescript area. I think when I was doing it on the bigger scale, what I did was I used a stencil to describe all of this. Or maybe I even just splashed on the colour to describe that spray of stuff that's there, Yes. I think even that is giving it some bit of texture anyway. It's alright. And then there's that daisy. I mustn't forget that little daisy that's hidden in the shadows there. And blue green in here. The only thing is that she better not come early now, the lady, to measure, because it really will be an awful mess. And I need to give myself like 20 minutes, and I've got a few jobs to do in advance, because I'm doing that pop-up gallery shop in Roslyn with my two friends on the 16th, and today really is the day that I need to put in the images for printing, and cushions and tote bags, and for making prints of my work as well. I need to, for cards and all the rest, I have to send in the images today, really, if they're going to be given enough time to get them ready for that date. I want them for the 15th, really, the day before the opening, of course. It was supposed to be a dark green over there, so I'll just print off the wet. I'm using a clean dry brush, and just do a little bit more to this stem, the tone of that stem, and then the little curly bit here. I don't know why I'm wanting to do that, because it's probably not necessary. I suppose it fills the space a bit there, whatever that is. Now. And then there's a leaf there that's a bit shiny. It's kind of tricky to know what to do with that. I'll just draw it in for now anyway. And then I think the ferns I can describe with the background colour if I want to make them any more evident. And that they're, if I want to make them any more fern-like. It's not too bad. I wonder if I do the background. I don't know really. quite dark in there again. And then there's a purple that I think is more purpley. And like I'd say that delphinium, you could still call them kind of blue, whereas these flowers here look to me to definitely not be blue anymore. But I think they need to be made with the purple straight from the tube rather than way off the side here. I do have the purple. What's it called now? Let me see. It's called Windsor Violet, and it's by Galleria Tayloroni. No, Windsor, and you can do the Galleria, sorry. Right, so yeah, that's a better purple. So I'll just print off that one and dry it a bit. And then put in some of the Windsor Violet. I can always lighten it up later on, as I say now, but it's just to establish their position. The reason I want to put in the colours is just so that we know where things are. There's another fern back there as well. I'm not sure if it's helpful though. I think I might just leave that out for now. I don't want to be toying too much with this area where the snapdragon is. It got so I positioned it so kind of strangely earlier. I didn't understand that it was actually completely not where I had put it. So a few things happened in this painting like that, isn't it? Like forgetting altogether about that one earlier on. Heartening though to notice that I do see them eventually. The shadow on the inside of the pot here is quite dark. I think I might just leave this at the acrylic stage today and come back and do something in oil tomorrow probably. We'll see. I'm going to the opening of the landscape, the award ceremony tomorrow night at the landscape exhibition in the City Arts Centre with my daughter. I was thinking I might end up going out a bit earlier and having something to eat with her. There's only 2 people allowed to go to the opening per person, per exhibitor. You know, you get 2 guest passes. So Hope is going to come with me to this one. Now, will I put on the greenish colour for that? What is it? I don't think I have anything similar to it today. Maybe the Hooker's green might be a bit like it. If I thin it out. Yeah, I would try that. Some water in there. Be kind of dark in there. I could do with muting the colour a bit so that it reads as a shadow. So I just picked up some of the greenish tones that I had on the palette to make it a bit more muted there. I'm back for a little bit more of the Hooker's green. And then there's the handle that's dark, but there's a petal interrupting the handle and the vase and the jug body, I mean. So I don't need to paint that part in just yet. And then the edge of the jug would slice a little sliver off the centre of the sunflower. I mean, really the centre of the sunflower might slightly shift position or size, but in general I'm happy enough with the location of the jug in relation to it, and the size of the jug in relation to it as well. I suppose it does encroach quite a bit onto the light side, that shadow. And then there's the shadow that sits underneath, well, it's cast by the jug. Yeah, so I'm not sure if I'll do much more to the edge of the table there. If I'll just leave well enough alone, you know, out there. Maybe there could be a little touch of some colour in there. And then sure tomorrow I can heighten things with the oil paint. And I think I'm okay with the evidence of the flowers underneath there as well. Like, I could maybe do with splashing a little bit of water, sprinkling some water on, yeah, on those flowers there, because I think when I wipe it away, hopefully it'll leave it a little bit more bitty, like those flowers are, with some spaces in between them. But I need to wait till it's kind of half dry to wipe it off. It might work, it might not work. And I think the centre of the sunflower, now that everything else has been given a bit of colour, I need to maybe deepen the tone of the centre of that sunflower again. And then I'm going to head off and do my jobs. When I say jobs, it's very enjoyable stuff, really. Selecting pictures that have already been painted, so I don't need to worry about doing any new things, really. Although it's lovely to keep the practice going, but you know, I'm looking back over paintings that I might have spent a while over, even years ago, and selecting from them for this exhibition. And I like doing that. I feel like I want some burnt sienna for the centre of that, but sure, we can do that with the oil tomorrow. Don't have to do every colour with the acrylic. I think it's maybe best to keep the acrylic for the tonal stuff anyway. Now I'm going to see if that's going to wipe away from me or not. Kinda. I don't know if I should have left it a bit longer. See, I'm getting a little bit of a texture, which is what I want. Yeah, I'd say I'm going to stop there for today. Just looked, as I said that, I just looked across there at the ferns and I thought maybe I could just eat into them while they're still a little bit wet. I need a brush that will excavate out. It's the short, bright brushes that are a bit stiffer. This is okay though. I might get one. Yeah, it's alright. I think what I'd end up doing there really is painting the background shapes in between them if I want to emphasize them more. And the centre of that daisy's got lost again, so I'll just paint that in. Okay. And there'll be daisy petals going up there. I wipe that away again. Okay. And I think what I could do there, I was going to say I don't have any more yellow out. I was going to say I could do this. I could just put a splash of yellow green over the top there and let it sit, you know. Yeah, making it a bigger shape than it really is, that spray. Alright, that's okay. I might just let those drops sit there and dry and see what that looks like tomorrow. Some of them anyway. Although to be honest, there's so little colour in them, they're not going to make that much of a difference up there, I don't think. I'll just take them off up there and let them elsewhere. That's okay. Yeah, good. Okay. So, thanks for joining me. I'm kind of excited to see how this goes going forward. That's what it looks like for now. It's been kind of nice just playing about with something on a small scale again, and with acrylic, and not giving myself hours, you know, but just I look forward to getting back to it again tomorrow. Okay, there. Thanks for joining me. Lots of love. See you tomorrow. Bye.